What's going on to all my C fans out there, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again, breaking down the Season 2 finale of C, Episode 9, titled Rockabye, an episode in which we see all-out war, and we'll be talking about who lives, who dies, my overall thoughts of the season, and what I hope to see in the Season 3. We're breaking it all down here in this spoiler review, but before we dive into it all, make sure you're checking me out on all my other social media accounts. If you all are new to the channel, well, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That way you can get the alert from when I drop new content, and once you've seen this Season 2 finale, Episode 9, we gotta talk about it. Your pros, your cons. What was your favorite moment of the episode? Well, let's talk more about the Season 2. What was your favorite episode, your favorite character, and of course, what you all hope to see in a Season 3 of C on Apple TV+. Let's talk about it in the comments. So just my quick initial thoughts of this finale. I was pretty satisfied. Now, there were some disappointing moments, some moments I kind of was like, how the heck did that happen? We'll get into it in this breakdown, but overall, I think it was a pretty satisfying conclusion. It wasn't the best episode by any means. I think that was a little bit earlier in the season, but nonetheless, the war, the battles, the blood, the guts, the people that died that we say bye to, Toad being one of them, the rift between Hanawa and Kofun, Queen Kane, killing Paris. We're talking about it all. I thought it was a really good finale. Ito saying goodbye and all this stuff, and I think it sets up a really interesting Season 3, especially with Baba leaving his family, which I never thought I would see. So it was some good things, some not so good things, but again, I really was satisfied with the finale. But again, let me know your thoughts on the finale, and again, I'll share my overall thoughts on the season at the end, but let me know your thoughts on the finale, the season. Let's talk about it in the comments. So let's break it all down as we open up with Baba, Voss, and crew as they're running from the war, not because they're scared, because they're overwhelmed at this point in the episode, and things are definitely going Ito's way very early on as they're making their way towards the gate. And this is where we see Baba wants Hanawa and Kofun to go back home to warn their mom, but at Pinsa, but they're like, Dad, we're ride or die. We're here to fight for our honor. We're here to fight side by side with you. And he's just like, you guys are idiots, but you're my kids. And he's proud of them at that moment. They do hold their own, which I was very surprised with. But we see that they are going to stand up against their Uncle Ito, and the war is on its way. And as I predicted last week, I figured that there was going to be another crew, the Compass, Bold Lions crew was going to come in. I thought it was going to be much later in the episode, like very similar to Game of Thrones, Battle of the Bastards, when the Veil came in kind of last minute to take out Ramsay. But they came nonetheless very early on in the fight. And again, we have the hidden tribes. We have Bold Lion as they're going to stand side by side with Baba Voss in the Pinson army. And right now, they had about 100 more soldiers, which good for them, because they were definitely, the numbers were not on their side. And of course, we get again the soldiers, but we also can't forget that Toad is in the building, which we'll talk about Toad a little bit later in the episode. R.I.P. to Toad. But cut back to Pinsa as Maghra learns of the father of Kane's soon-to-be baby is no other than Kofun, which they really didn't stress that importance of that. Like, it didn't, I don't want to say they skipped over it, but I think they kind of knew. They just didn't want to reveal it. Baba, I don't know if Baba actually knows that his son is responsible for the birth of this child. But nonetheless, we see that Maghra is like, you're my future grandson / nephew will never know who his mother is. And we'll talk about Queen Kane, or I should say Kane, and wanting to know who the mother of that child is, but she says that she will never let her see the child. And you know, we see that Kane is just like speaking her stuff as she always do against all odds. She's like, hey, baby sister, keep that crown worn for me, because I swear I'm going to get it back sooner rather than later. She didn't die this episode, but she killed one of my favorite characters, and she has to die after what she did at the end of this episode. But going back to the war, Baba gives this really good speech. Again, the speeches in his family, whether it be our new Queen Maghra, now Baba, they really get things hyped up as he gets the troops rallied up and wants the gates to be open. And when he says his line, let's welcome them to hell, I was ready to fight. I was ready to get a sword and go to war, because Baba got me hyped. Really great moment there. But speaking of great moment, the action, ladies and gentlemen. It's been some weeks. I know there's some people are like, oh, there's no action. It's boring. Neither here nor there. I know people can have their own rights to their opinion. I'm okay with the lack of action in Season 2 because we got more character development, more stakes. You know, there was some great dialogue, some really quieter moments. But all that aside, we finally get some incredible action, and the action was so incredible in this season finale as Baba chops off someone's face. The killings begin. The arrows are raining fire. We see Hanawa taking out soldiers left and right, and things are looking pretty good for our team. They have the advantage, but Ito and his little sighted boy, they step in. He gives them the direction of where to take people out, and we see just this literally blood fest going on. It's just straight up carnage, and I love the booby traps. This was like Home Alone, rated R, Home Alone, as we see Baba and the Witchfinder as they're setting the soldiers up to kind of follow them, and they have the crane when it comes out and wipes out all the people. They have the great hand-to-hand combat fights, and then like everyone had a moment of shine. We see Bowline, we see Toad, we see Hanawa, we see Kofun, of course Baba, we see June. I mean, everyone's doing their thing, holding their own, and it's just like I'm just like stuck to the TV screen, just in awe of all the action going on. Meanwhile, we see the booby traps coming more in place as they set up their like oil and fire. They're burning people alive. I'm just like, this is so amazing. I'm having such a good time this episode, but I'm just like, sooner rather than later, one of my favorite characters will be biting the dust, and we'll talk about that in a second here. But let's talk about Kofun. I know a lot of people are done with him. They hate him, and hey, I was in the same boat with you all from all of season 1 and half of this season. But Kofun finally steps up, ladies and gentlemen, as he takes out that little boy. But unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to one of my favorite new additions to this season 2, and that is Toad, as he stabbed, unfortunately, fighting one of the guys. Almost, I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, he took a stab for Kofun. He pretty much, as I predicted weeks ago, that he was going to probably die protecting Kofun, which he does, which is something that Paris wanted him to do. Which, speaking of Paris, he tells Kofun, just tell her. He's like, tell her what? She'll know exactly what I mean in that moment. And he tells him, by the way, go kill somebody. Great way to go out. Again, shout out to that actor who plays Toad. This is really my first time being exposed to him. He was incredible. I do wish that he was part of season 3, but I know he's on a HBO show by the name of Warrior, and I hear he's great in that, and I hear he's great in everything that he's in. So again, shout out to that actor. Toad was one of my favorite characters this year, and what a way to go out. And again, go kill some people, Kofun, as he trained Kofun. He was the Obi-Wan Kenobi of his sorts to Darth Vader, as I said many times with Kofun going down that dark path. But again, a great moment for that character. But let's get back to it as we get more of these booby traps by Baba Voss, as he sets up a booby trap with the ice and all the soldiers go down. And this is where some of my criticism comes in, and I guess I have to suspend my disbelief. But I'm like, hold on. Weren't they surprised of Ito's visit and kind of the war starting a little bit earlier? Because my thing is like, when did they set up these booby traps? When did Baba talk to Bowlion and the hidden tribes about all the booby traps? Like, when did they don't have cell phones. I don't see ravens going out about planning. I was just like, this is like almost a little bit too easy, a little bit too convenient that all these traps are playing out, because there was no communication prior to this fight. But hey, that's just me, I guess, nitpicking, because there's really not that much to kind of criticize until a little bit later in the episode. But I'm just like, hey, whatever it is, I love the booby traps, but I'm just like, who communicated this? When did they have time to set all this up? But neither here nor there. They take out the soldiers with the ice, and if I were to nitpick a little bit, and I don't want to be that guy, but I'm like, when they were fighting, they were all like really close corners. I'm like, how they're blind? How are they able to know who's on their side, who's not on their side? Because they literally are like so close to each other. They can't see who's. I know they have their heightened senses. They can smell people, this, that, and the other. But I'm like, how are they able to distinguish the good from the bad? Again, I'm just nitpicking, but let's go back to this awesome fight. As we see at this point, Rin goes down in the water. For a brief second, I thought they were going to kill Rin, as Ito calls her out and she doesn't respond because, of course, he loves her, he respects her. That's his daughter of a sense, right? But she rises from the water, and this is where Hanawa finds her and releases her from her imprisonment, and we'll talk to them having their goodbyes here in a second. But back to the moment me and you and every one of the C fans have been waiting for. Round 2, or maybe round 3, we can say, between Big Brother, Little Brother. Round 3 of Baba Voss and Ito, and it is not disappointing. The hand, and I love that they put their swords aside. Brother fight, hand-to-hand combat was incredible as they're going back and forth. I mean, my man Ito is tossing Baba on the side of the bridge, cracking his back like Batman, and Baba hitting him left and right, taking out his knee. Again, that fight was incredible. It was worth the wait. But we see Baba ultimately gets the upper hand. His brother takes his sword, stabs him. Like, no, you cannot kill Baba Voss. He's okay, but he takes that sword, has to kill his own brother. He didn't want to, but he had to. Very similar to Kal-El having killed Zod. He had to kill, his brother because his brother was going to wreck shop if he kept him alive. But neither here nor there. We get the moment between the two brothers as he stabs Ito, and Ito can't go back to his homeland undefeated. And they're not enemies at this moment. They're brothers. As he says, the truth. Did our father, tell you to kill me? And he says yes. And we say goodbye to Ito, which quick moment here. I'm a big fan of Dave Bautista, seeing his career from wrestling to transition to movies, Drax, and, working with Denis Villeneuve with Blade Runner 2049, doing some comedies, and obviously working on Dune and many other things, Knives Out 2. What a career so far. What a great character, Ito. I was hoping they kept him alive, but I know he's a very, 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 very busy man, as I just mentioned, but I thought Ito was great. There were some moments in the season where I thought that he was just kind of almost hidden, which, again, he has a very busy schedule, but I wish he was a little bit more involved kind of in the middle of the season where we just kind of checked in on him every now and then, but neither here nor there. What a great character. What a great performance by Dave Bautista's Ito, and a really good moment between those two brothers as they say their goodbyes to one another. But going back to goodbyes, we see that Ren and Hanawa have to say their goodbyes. Just for now, I believe they will come back to each other in season 3, but they do say their goodbyes from now. But here's the moment that I've been talking about for a couple weeks ago, which is Kofun entering that dark side, as him and his sister have a little bit of a scuffle, of a sense, verbal scuffle, as we see that Hanawa has let Ren go. He's like, why did you let her go? Is this, you just letting all the sighted people go? You let the kid go? You're taking care of him? What does that mean? She's like, they're your people. Who am I? I'm your people. I'm your brother. I'm your blood. And she just walks away. So I think that's sign one of many signs that we got in this season that Kofun will be on the dark side. Kofun and his queen, Kane, will be working together. And I'm going to say it now. Season 3, get ready for Hanawa and Kofun fighting each other to the death. You heard it here first. But we wrap things up. And again, I'm like, hold on. How much time is left in this episode? We had 17 minutes. And this is a little bit more my criticism. I feel like those last 15 minutes was a little bit, it kind of overwhelmed this stay. And I'll kind of refer to what I mean by that. First off, we have this sex scene, which I didn't think was necessary to have. Which, Maghra and Baba, they haven't had it, sex this whole season. But I'm just like, did we really need that? But we needed this scene because they finally have the discussion about their children being warriors, no longer being kids. And this is big because this is where Baba says they don't need me anymore, which leads to his decision at the end of this episode. But she's like, oh, they need you more than ever. So this kind of shows you he feels like he's not needed. He doesn't feel like he doesn't feel at home at Pensa. So this is just kind of the first inkling that he's going to leave his family, which he ultimately does at the end of this episode. But we go to a very interesting moment where our new queen Maghra is giving the Witchfinders, they're taking away their titles, they're making them, warriors now, they're making them royal guards, and June is their leader, of course. But we see, I believe, 22 of them leave because they don't believe in this new philosophy. They believe in the old ways. So this is going to be really interesting to see those Witchfinders going against, another war, which is probably going to be something to look forward to in season 3. But speaking of June, he's tired. He's been doing this for 20 years. He's kind of worn out. And again, I feel like, kind of a weird situation when he's talking to Maghra. He's like, okay, I'm going to leave. She's like, I need you. Well, okay, I think about it. It was just kind of a weird conversation, dialogue between those two. But again, he's going to reconsider it. I assume he's going to be serving the queen for future seasons and go against those Witchfinders that didn't want to be a part of this new regime. But we talk about Kofun as he's listening to his auntie/lover singing a song, and then she's still in his head. I'm telling you all, she's going to get in his head. He's going to be the one that's going to release her, and he's going to be the one that's going to be fighting his sister and maybe even taking out his mom come next season. He's going to be the big bad, I think. Oh, not big bad, but he's going to be a pivotal character in season 3, and it's going to probably be a character that we're going to hate even more for some people out there. But cut to Gerald Morel's son, who is working with creating bombs. And again, this is just setting the seeds for season 3 as we end the episode with Baba Voss, something I never would have saw coming, kissing his family goodbye because he does not feel at home at Pensa. I don't know where he's going exactly, but he ain't gonna be staying in Pensa. So Baba's on this quest of finding home or finding something of peace, and I would imagine his kids and his family are going to go looking for him, and we'll see what comes of that come season 3. But we have one more scene to break down, and that is Paris checking on Kane and the baby, as Kane wants her to take care of Kofun. And of course, you know, she says, of course I'm going to take care of Kofun. As is all part of a ruse, she distracts Paris, slits her throat, killing Paris, and she tells Paris as she's dying on her own blood, I would rather kill this baby than have you all take this baby away from me, as she's singing Rockabye, and that is the last scene. Wow. Kane, he couldn't have gotten worse. The Cersei of this show has killed one of my favorite characters, Paris, who, again, and I guess when you don't see the body, but she slit her throat. She's dead, right? Who knows? They can do something different and say that someone saved her or whatever. She has intuition. She can maybe heal herself. Who knows? But it's safe to assume that Paris is dead, that she will not be making a return in season 3. And if that is the case, what a great actress. I've always loved her. I love the character Paris, and this is going to mean a lot. Again, will that get Kofun closer to Kane after killing someone that's so close to him? Hanawan's going to want to kill her right away, but that is a huge moment for that character to be killed by the hands of Kane. But let's talk about again, I thought the season finale was satisfying. Again, I love the action. I love the booby traps. I love the moments between two brothers, the goodbyes for our characters, you know, RIP to Paris, RIP to Toad, the two lovers who didn't ultimately get time to spend love with each other. But again, I felt like the war stuff felt a little bit too convenient. When did they have time to set up the booby traps? That's just me nitpicking, and the sighted, you know, the blind people being able to know who's the good guy and bad guy with such close quarters. But again, those are nitpicks. But I do feel like the last 15 minutes were just a little, it almost felt like it was just too, there were good moments, but it just felt like it was like, it overwhelmed this stay. I thought they could have maybe taken out some of those moments to flesh things out. Harlan, of course, is still alive, which is great because I'm really looking forward to seeing him in season 3. But overall thoughts of the season 2, I think, and I'm a big fan of season 1, I think season 2 was way superior than season 1. I thought the writing was stronger, the character development was stronger, the pacing was great, the world building was fantastic, the acting was heightened to me, the character focus. Again, I know some people weren't the biggest fans of the lack of action, but I was okay with the lack of action, even though I love the heads splitting off and Baba's putting people's swords in their mouths and splitting their asses open. I mean, Baba's incredible. Don't get me wrong, but I just thought that the richness in the characters, the slow burn at time, the quieter moments, those moments really stood out to me, and I can't stress enough the new additions of characters like Toad, Charlotte, who's one of my favorites. I'm so glad she survived, and hopefully we get more of her in season 3. The addition of the Compass, Harlan, Ito, of course, Ren. I really enjoyed the new characters of this season, and I thought that this season, like I said, in my opinion, this isn't a diss on season 1. I think season 2 is way more superior than season 1, and like I said, it all boils down to all the stuff I just mentioned, and I can't wait to see maybe season 3 will have that perfect balance, which I'm okay with the lack of action, but I think season 3 will have just as much action as season 1 and 2 combined, just as much character development with addition of new characters, with addition of more world building for season 3, which I think season 3, Jermorel's son, Kofun, Queen Kane, the baby, Maghra as the queen, the witchfinders that didn't want to be a part of this new regime, all that stuff is going to shape up for an incredible season 3. And I think on the trajectory of this show, I can see this going for another 2 or 3 seasons, maybe 5 at the max, but I can see them maybe definitely doing a season 4 and 5 being like the absolute finale, because Jason Momoa is a very busy person as well, obviously Aquaman and all the other stuff he's doing, but neither here nor there. Season 3, can't wait for it. Season 2 was fantastic, but that's just my thoughts. I want to know yours, your pros and cons of the finale, your favorite moments of the finale, who was ultimately your favorite character in season 2, new or old, and of course, what do you hope to see in a season 3 of C on Apple TV Plus? Let's talk about it in the comments below. For every single one of you all that watch all 9 of these reviews, that watch my season 1 reviews, I appreciate every single one of you all. It means a lot to me. I love this show. I always champion Apple TV Plus, great content, which I will be covering more Apple TV Plus. If you all don't know, I'm covering Foundation right now. That's me covering that every single week. We have a lot of stuff coming this fall. I believe there's a show called Invasion. There's The Shrink Next Door with Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell, and there's a couple other things coming out later this year. So I will be covering more Apple TV Plus. I will be covering my HBO content, Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon, you name it. But again, I appreciate every single one of you all. And before you leave, make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss any of my future reviews. Before you click out of the video, make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, check out my other content, and we'll see you in the next video.